Hello everyone, today we talk about writing headlines because it's a hot topic and 80% of users don't click on boring headlines. You can create the best content in the world, but if people don't know, they don't click, you can't get this traffic. It's better to write some headlines that provide curiosity and bring clicks to your website. Okay, my friend, tell me about writing headlines. What your living strategy?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's the kind of thing where people say don't judge a book by its cover, but it seems like people judge content by its headline a lot of the times. And I think when it comes to writing good headlines that actually attract clicks, again, the first thing that I always do when it comes to writing content is take a look at what's been written about that topic. And then you have to kind of look through the top ranking results and see what titles they're using, what paid titles they've got for their content. Because a lot of times you will see similarities. I guarantee you're going to be seeing some similarities in the way that the headlines are formed. And then from that, the first thing you do is you kind of get an idea and say, okay, cool, like I can actually use maybe this word or these couple of words within the headline. But the most important thing as well is to also consider what would make you as a user want to click on this result. So you can kind of write it down and then think to yourself, okay, if I saw this, for example, making a search on Google, would I be clicking this? And there are different ways to kind of test the effectiveness of this. You can even ask people in your industry or ask your friends, get their opinions. Well, sometimes I think people are a bit too shy to kind of get feedback and get constructive criticism as well when it comes to their content. So don't be afraid to actually reach out to people and ask for their thoughts, as well as that could also help you, I guess, guide you into the right direction of what your headline should be like.
You know, I want to share a story. Once I got a client and he told me I can bring a big contract, very big contract, if you provide results for a month. Of course, SEO is a long game. You can't get results for a month, but I found that on his website, the topic was weight loss supplements in the US. You have huge competition there. And I found that he used headlines, titles, and descriptions for the sake of having them. The traffic was good, like 100,000 people a month. But I found this flaw, and I decided to rewrite his titles and descriptions, and traffic was increased 2-3 times for some pages. He told me, wow, you can provide awesome results. And after this, we cooperated over 2 years with this client, and he brought like 40% of all my revenue. After this, I decided to create a tool, a very simple tool to check out your headlines. I took studies from HubSpot, Moz, to use some data from these studies. For example, if you use numbers in your headline, you can increase CTR by 36%. If you use brackets, you can increase CTR by 38%. If you use some powerful words or we usually take these words from pay-per-click, because paid marketers know that if they can't get clicks, Google or Facebook will charge more for their marketing campaigns. And yeah, we just took all this base to our tool, and today you can analyze your headlines by using these tools. But I found one way: if it works for one project, it doesn't work for others. It's better to learn your competitors, and in that way, I like Seth Godin book, The Purple Cow. For example, if you see that your competitors use long headlines with a lot of numbers, brackets, it's better to use a short one, and in this way you can stand out from the rest and get more clicks. That's why I usually search for my competitors' headlines and think how I can provide something differently to give a strong reason to click to my content. And once I asked John Mueller, can my headlines confuse Google which keywords to rank on this page? He told yes, probably it's possible. That's why it's better to be careful playing with headlines, because you can confuse Google and lose traffic. But I think that it's better to test different approaches and think which one will work for you. Okay, guys, let me know what you think. Comment below, share your thoughts, and see you next time.